All right. Quarantine reveal.
Quarantine outfit reveal.
3, 2, turn my camera on.
Oh, you look normal.
My bangs are swoopy. Oh my. Oh my. Oh
Hi,
yeah,
welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to Gold Can't Stay Quarantine Edition. We're home. Allyson's in the United States.
Well, self-isolation edition, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm. I have ice in my drink, which was a bad move. Sorry, everyone. Maybe that'll give you a nice fun boost of ASMR. Just like a little fun little clinkety clink.
There you go.
You know?
Is this our intro? Are we introing?
Oh my god, I guess we're introing.
Hi, I'm Kasey.
Hi, I'm Allyson. And this is
even
Gold
remember.
Can't Stay. Two
It's been so
long-distance
long.
sisters telling long-distance stories.
And we're
Back.
actually long distance. We're
Yeah, it
finally
happened.
starting the long distance situation. That's crazy.
It finally happened 1 month
Mhm.
later. I think it has actually been. It's been a month.
Wow.
Look how long my bangs are.
Yeah, I actually cut mine not too long ago, so they're not so bad.
I'm questioning whether or not I should grow my bangs out or cut them because they were a very, very short style. So it's like, you know, if I need to grow them out, this is the time to do it.
I hear hair cutting stuff is big right now for people in self-isolation.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause,
People are doing the head shaving, the bang cutting. And I'm like,
mhm.
you fools, I've been doing that for years. I've been cutting my own hair and then having to go to a salon the next day for years.
For a shame. Yeah. The
Yeah.
salon of shame.
It's not, yeah, just the, hey, can you please fix this? This was really bad. I never learned my
Yeah.
lesson. Still doing it.
Nope. Mm-hmm. That's
Still
fine.
doing it. You know.
I
You
don't
know
play
how it
that
goes.
way. I play it safe and boring.
You just go,
That's me. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I honestly feel like it's hard to mess up bangs. I've never done it. And I see so many horror stories of people, like, holding it in one bunch and cutting it. And they're like, oh, no, it didn't work. It's like, sure didn't.
yeah.
Sure didn't. You
I
just,
think-
a little, yeah.
For me, it's difficult, I guess, because my bangs were so short. So there's only, like, so much you can do. And then there was, like, supposed to be, like, a coming down on the side. And it's just, anyway. Anyway, this is not what this episode's about. This episode's about...
Well, I mean, we're talking about
Oh,
quarantine
yeah.
activities.
You're right. This episode's
Quarantine
about coming
crafts.
home and maybe quarantine. Corn crafts. And I forgot to bring up the Word document with the talking points on it.
Shame on
And
you.
I'm
I have
rapping.
mine ready to go. I'm profesh today.
Wow,
Ready
profesh
to
to
go.
death
Mm-hmm.
with your bow tie. Is
With
that a
my bow
Mokuyobi
tie.
shirt?
It is a Mokuyobi. Oh my god, am I already sweating? Oh.
Stress.
We're just gonna have to crop the video right here.
Yeah, I'll edit it.
I'll just
scooch it.
edit it lighter. Can you just like cut some color correction? I'm just
right.
a very sweaty person. There, I said
Same.
it. I admitted it. I'm just
Same.
very sweaty, and I guess this kind of shirt isn't for me. Should have tested that out. Whoopsies. That's oh my
Oopsie daisy.
Oh no.
I hope you guys liked the same shirts that I wore in the previous videos because my stuff is still in storage and I will still be wearing the same 3 black and white striped shirts in every episode.
I was gonna say, partially why I'm like so dressed up is I'm so excited to be home and have access to more than just like t-shirts and what I brought to Japan. So I'm like, hell yeah, let's break out the bow tie and the like fun Mokuyobi shirt I knew I wasn't gonna wear, and I'm just very excited to wear something.
I went straight from, oh shit, it's a little cold for the stuff I brought in Japan to, oh shit, it's a little warm for the stuff that I have now at home. Because it's already 80 plus degrees some days, but...
Yeah, I think here in Canada it's very similar to Japan. Well, especially because when I left, the day I left for Japan, I was going to get into it, it was snowing many inches. I
Yeah.
was like, okay. I did not pack for snow, especially in March, the very end of March. Like,
Yeah.
that was crazy. I woke up and it was snowing, and I had to pull my suitcases through like 2 inches of snow, and it was not fun.
That
But
was
the
actually
walk
the
was
second
short.
time that it snowed in Japan, which was weird, but
Yeah. Wow.
weird.
It was a pretty cool goodbye, though. I mean, we had a nice warm walk before, and then
Cherry blossoms.
snow.
Cherry blossoms and
Yeah.
snow. Wow. Well, before we really get into the meat of the Nikuman, as they
Bringing
say.
it back. Bringing
Bringing it back. Maybe we'll figure out more American-centric phrases.
Meat of the poutine.
meat of the poutine. Is there meat on poutine? The curds of the poutine?
If you get the pulled pork poutine,
You're
there
right,
sure
if you
is.
take it, if you take
or
it
the
to
curd.
the next level.
The curd of the poutine.
The curd of the
Too,
poutine.
which kind of sounds gross.
Yeah, it does. But hey, what can you do? But
What
anyway,
can you do?
So actually, this is my last gaijin goof.
Okay, let's hear it.
This is the last gaijin goof. Strap in. It's spicy. It's a doozy. This is one that I wasn't gonna tell. Oh no, you haven't.
You weren't gonna tell this one.
This one's spicy. A couple of my close friends know about this already, but this is gonna be new to you. New and spicy. So strap in. It's also slightly an SFW.
Okay.
Not safe for work.
Put your headphones in, kids.
Or take them out. Take your
Our
headphones out.
nikuman is getting spicy.
This is a Nashville hot chicken nikuman. All right. So, me and you in an apartment, cramped space, not a whole lot of alone time.
Oh,
so
God.
When you were on your walks, sometimes I would do guided meditations that would make me cry or practice breathing or love myself. So the houses.
I mean, you don't have to tell this story if you don't want to.
No, it's funny. It's fine.
Okay.
This is a story. Everyone does. Loving yourself, touching yourself, that's normal, it's healthy, blah 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 blah. You're an adult, you're a teen, whatever. None of my business. It's natural, it's healthy. It's good for you. Anyways, so I don't think it really sunk in how close all of the houses were around us. And, the curtains were open. I was like, whatever. I do stuff with curtains open at home all the time. At home, even when I'm in apartments, though, there's a lot of space between between you and the next person. So, luckily this time I was just like wearing most of my clothes. It was just like not a whole ordeal. This is a quick and dirty one and done. I heard a sound and I look over out a window and our elderly neighbors are adjusting the window or something, and I jumped off the bed like with my pants down and like dove into the next room, and I was just so I was shocked. I was so embarrassed, and I felt really bad because, it's just, I don't know, it was just, that was my super gaijin goof. I think that's a grave error.
That is probably the worst one, I feel like. It
was very bad, and it happened, pretty early in the trip, so I was, so paranoid, and I, didn't want to tell you about it yet because I felt bad. I felt bad for our neighbors, honestly. Even though, they probably didn't really see anything. I mean, I had a shirt on. But still, it's just, everything's worse in your head. So it's just, every time I would, maybe I was just worried about running into them outside of the house. Yeah. And then when our other neighbor, came and talked to us, I was like, oh, my God, have the neighbors been talking? Because, elderly people especially, the neighbors will talk.
Would they talk about that, though, I wonder?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, who knows?
That might be something they wouldn't want to talk about.
Yeah, because it's very...
I don't know, though.
And then I also was like, what if they complain to June about the voyeuristic Americans next door? But, yeah, so that was, a pretty... it was a pretty big one. I was very embarrassed, and it was, yeah. I think, yeah. Yep, so I learned my lesson real quick. Never made sure the windows were closed.
Well, I didn't learn my lesson because I constantly changed clothes with the blinds open while we were there, and I would always be like, oh, my pants are off. Oh, I see a window.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, that's fine, though.
What can you do? We're gone now. So,
yeah.
Sayonara.
Yeah. Wow, what a goof. What? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, really held on to that one.
I really did. Kept that one close. Kept it secret, kept it safe.
Yep. You sure did.
Oof.
So my goof it's not a super goof, but it is something that I was holding on for the podcast. I never told you about my shoe shopping experience when I bought my tennis shoes.
Oh, yeah. I feel like you mentioned that you said you had a goof, but you were going to save it, and then we left pretty soon after that. And
I'm pretty sure I even teased in the podcast episode that I was like, I'm going to go shoe shopping. Can't wait to tell you guys about it.
Oh, yeah.
And I never did. So it was pretty smooth, thankfully, when I went into the... Was the Nike shop the first one I went into? Or was that Adidas? What did I end up with? Nikes?
You ended up with Nikes.
Okay, so the first store I went into was an Adidas store, and thankfully, like, the second person I ran into spoke really good English. He had, like, studied abroad in Canada, thank God. So I was like, great, I can explain to him what I want because, you know, Japanese, not great. So...
Not Jozu?
No, not Jozu. So I started, you know, like, I told him what I was looking for, just, like, some simple walking shoes. And I also just, like, really wanted to make sure he knew, like, as an American, my feet are huge. They're not small Japanese feet. And they're also very wide. I have very wide feet even for, like, an American person or American girl, I guess. So, like, I very much, like, made that clear to him. Like, if I need to buy men's shoes, I'm cool with that. I don't care. So when it came down to trying the shoe on, which, by the way, they had the size, which was, like, no problem. I thought the size would be an issue, but I think maybe because they were tennis shoes, that maybe there's just, like, bigger sizes. But when it came to trying the shoe on, sure enough, like, it is very tight. Like, it's not wide. So it was a bit of a tight fit, but I still got it on. But he was, like, asking me, he was like, do you have really thick socks on? Like, are you wearing, like, 2 pairs of socks? And I was like, bruh, I told you, like, I have wide feet. Like, I have big feet. So the fact that, like, I told him this, he couldn't believe it. And then continued to, like, ask me do you have 2 pairs of socks on? Or your socks very thick? And I was just like, I'm already, like, I'm not embarrassed that I have big feet. I mean, it's, like, whatever. But,
it's a thing. Like, yeah. It's a thing.
Had to, like, he like made it like a bigger deal. I was like, no, I just have wide feet. Thank you though for asking. But that was funny. I mean, I thought that was funny.
Do you think he was just trying to, like, save face a little bit? Like,
for
maybe
me?
Maybe, like, trying to not
I can't
embarrass
imagine. Because, like, well then what? My answer was no, I don't have a thick pair of socks on. So it's like, and I don't know. Maybe he was trying to be like the socks are thick, but, like, they weren't.
Yeah, darn.
They weren't.
That's a goof. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was it. Like, I wasn't hurt by it. It was just kind of funny. I've never heard an American be like, "Oh, maybe your socks are thick." You know.
Yeah.
He probably was trying to be nice, but yeah. Yeah, that was really it. Then I went to Nike, and the girl also didn't really speak any English at all, but I was able to, like, tell her what I wanted, and that was fine. I mean, I can say a number, I can say what size I want, and say if I like it, if I want it or not, so that's good. And she, like, asked me, like, what I was doing there, and I was like, well, I studied abroad in the past, but not now, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so that's my goof.
Well, congrats. Congrats on your goof.
Thanks.
That was wholesome. It was a wholesome goof.
Mm-hmm. It was pretty good. Yeah.
Pretty wholesome. Cool.
Now, as far as goofs in quarantine, though, I don't know if I'm really going to have any coming up for, like, future episodes.
I said that I had one already. But
well, we'll save that.
I can't remember what it was. I'll need to review.
Save it for the next one.
I'll figure it out. Well, what are we talking about this episode?
We're talking about our experience, like, self-isolating and, like, leaving Japan, because as you guys can obviously tell, we are in 2 different locations now. We have a split screen. I don't remember what side you're going to be on, but I'm on one side, Allison's on the other. We're back in our respective homes.
You're north of the border in Canada, and I'm south of the border in Nashville-ish, Tennessee.
So we're just going to be talking about our experience traveling home during this mess, and thoughts, and our experiences, and now how it is at home and all that stuff.
Yeah. We asked you guys on Instagram if you had any specific questions, so we'll definitely, like, include those. But I think a lot of the questions that were asked were pretty much, like, you know. Did you hear that?
Yes, Bones trying to get back in your room.
I think he might be slamming up against my bedroom door.
I mean, you can let him in, and then people can, like, let you know if his breathing is too much. But
yeah,
I think
you know what? Yeah.
Fine.
Okay.
This could be a test run.
All right. Well, okay. So, please stand by. I wasn't gonna have to do a please stand by, but maybe please stand by. I'm gonna open up the door and let
my boner in.
Let the
boner in.
Let the boner in. All right.
It's fine.
All right.
So
this episode.
Yeah.
Deciding why we decided to come back when we decided to come back. I guess, our thoughts and feelings and emotions surrounding that, and during like the whole experience coming in, how it was different for me, Allyson, versus how it was different for you, Kasey, and all that good stuff. So, I guess you can start off because you're the one who broke the news. Because originally, so it was mid-March, maybe like the 20th or the 21st, when the United States of America declared, like, hey, everyone who's American, come home, like, it's getting serious. And you were still kind of like, oh, it'd be kind of fun to get stuck in Japan during all this.
Honestly.
And even I was like, I don't know that it would be fun, but I do feel safer in Japan. They're more equipped to deal with pneumonia than they are in America because of their aging population. So, like, I was weighing those things. I was under a lot of stress. Well, you can tell your part first, and then you can tell yours. So, yeah, so you decided a week later. Go on. Why? How?
Well, yeah, like you said, I thought it would be fun to be stuck, just because I think I'm getting into a point where, like, my life is so, like, every day is the same, and I'm just like, this is mixing things up. Like, I've told you in the past when I got hit by a car, I told you, like, man, looking back on it, kind of fun. Like, it was, like, something different. Like, it sucked, but, like, looking back on it, it's like, oh, wow, that was, like, a fun
Pretty
part.
Interesting, yeah.
I mean, it breaks up the normal day-to-day, so... But then it was after Japan had, like, finally admitted that they were, like... I think it was, like, when Canada pulled out of the Olympics, and so Japan was like, okay, fine. I was like, well... I started... Because, like, we really stopped leaving the apartment, like, a week before that, and I was like, this is getting so boring. Like, we can't go anywhere, like... And the main thing was, like, okay, the food. Like, I don't want to eat ramen every day. Mm-hmm. We don't have an oven. We don't really have a stovetop. It was just, like, I was getting sick of just, like, eating soup and eggs every day.
Yeah.
And it just felt like being in Canada was probably the better option to be stuck anywhere, because I can at least go to the grocery store. I have an oven. I have a stove. Like, I have my proper workspace. Like, I can get back into the groove of working instead of being stuck here. I'm not getting inspiration. So, yeah, it just didn't... And, like, not having access to good information and, like... the lack of language barrier. There's just, I don't know. It seemed like if I got stuck, it was fine. But I guess having the choice to be stuck wasn't really something that I wanted to make, I guess. So
yeah.
And plus, you say, like, they're better equipped to take care of people, but I've been hearing a lot of stories about ambulances being denied at hospitals. And that's, like, a common thing. Like, that's not even uncommon day-to-day in Japan. Like, I saw some people talk about how ambulances will have to drive hospital to hospital to find someone to accept just a normal patient. So I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know if really anywhere in the world is the best ideal place. Everyone's got their problems, it seems like. I don't know. So, yeah. That was why I decided to come back. And yeah, I've got Dave here and Mr. Kitty, and I don't know. It just seemed better to just get out while I could, because also Canada Airlines was stopping most of their flights out of Japan. It was going to be, like, very rare to get flights, and it was just, like, they were already kind of expensive, and I didn't want to pay, like, a lot of money or be stuck there. So in the end, yeah, I was like, well, yeah, I made my decision the day after I went and bought a bunch of groceries to be prepared to be self-isolated. So I left a bunch of groceries, which kind of sucks, but yeah.
Yeah, that really threw me for a loop. I was actually, like, kind of surprised because you told me right before I was about to go to the grocery store and, like, stock up on stuff. And I'd already been super stressed for a couple of reasons. Like, I'm the kind of person who is anxious anyways. Like, I'm just an anxious person. That's just the thing that I deal with. So I've been, like, really keeping up with the news in America versus in Japan. And it was it was stressful to not be able to get our news firsthand. It was stressful for me to have my support network asleep while I was awake and not be able to be like, hey, what's stuff like in America? Or, like, be able to kind of, like, check up on each other. There was also a tornado that had happened a few weeks before in Nashville that really stressed me out, not being able to be at home and like support my friends while some of them, you know, were dealing with like all that stuff, and then the coronavirus on top of that. Like, I was like probably miserable to be around that last month. I was just like
you
crying
seemed
a lot.
miserable, so I was like, for you mentally, I feel like it would be best for you to go home. Like, I was like, ooh.
Yeah, I was probably not fun to be around because I was definitely like, after the tornado happened, I was like, that really stressed me out. It really exacerbated the feeling of disconnect I had from my support network, and then the coronavirus stuff, and then the fact that just things in America were not great. I think the reason
aren't.
They're not. The reason that I was still on the fence about staying or going was because of how America was handling it. Like, I know it seemed like Japan was downplaying things in order to keep the Olympics running, but like they weren't going to happen. But now that the information I've learned about the ambulances from you is like really intense, but traveling, just the thought of traveling, I was already so anxious about everything. The thought of traveling, I had convinced myself that not only because I had diabetes, if I caught this or when I caught this, like, I don't know, like, I'd worked myself up so much about that I was like, I'm going to catch this, and because I have diabetes, I'm going to die.
Yeah, so you definitely were like very convinced of death, like high death.
And I had like reached out to some friends. I had a friend in Germany who was like, hey, like, if you want to come to Germany and live here for like your tourist visa instead of going home, because she was concerned about me going to America just because of how shit's going down here. She was like, by all means come, but at that point Germany had closed its borders, so I wasn't able to. But so when you told me you were going, I was like, fuck it, I can't. Like, you were literally like the only person I knew here that I could like talk to, aside from some like strangers on the internet that I'd reached out to and kind of like was reconnecting with. But yeah, so it was kind of like, I have to go now. And it was just really, so just to kind of ease into like the process of like booking into tickets and things. This is Allyson still talking, by the way, trying to rewind her. I'm trying to be mindful of that. While researching tickets and kind of like guidelines from the, United States Department of State and travel and whatever, like, and then comparing that to kind of what Canada was doing and providing for their citizens, like, the official Canadian approach was like, hey, we can give y'all emergency loans to purchase tickets. We have charter flights that we can alert you of. Like, we want you to come back home so we can take care of you. And the official statement from the United States was, do not expect help from the Department of State. And that's not a good feeling. It's fucked up.
I've been watching the Prime Minister of Canada give, like, his statements, like, almost every day since I've been back, just because I haven't keeping up with reports and stuff, but I'm, like, awake while the YouTube live thing is going of his report and stuff, and just the way he carries himself and the way he talks about stuff, and he's like, oh, I'm not a medical professional, so I don't feel comfortable giving you advice on whether or not you should be doing this and that, because I do have medical professionals talk after he talks, and just the way he is as a person, it just seems so much better than Trump, and it's just bad.
Trudeau's a politician. Trump is not a politician. He doesn't understand that the things that he says carry a lot of weight. Like, just the other day, he was like, oh, maybe people can inject disinfectants, and that'll take care of it. And it's like,
if there's anything Trump is giving us, it's good memes and good laughs, but then also we get embarrassed by it, so I don't know.
It's like he's actively harming people, so it's just like, anyway. But this episode's
I guess.
But just to kind of frame like how I felt coming home, I was like, I'm leaving Japan, I'm entering a country that very obviously doesn't care about its citizens, and like their official statement is that they don't care. It was just like another layer of stress for me. And like after you said that you were leaving, and I was kind of like, before I'd officially made the decision to leave, and then as the days leading up to leaving, I just like cried every day because the situation was like so stressful and like bleak. Like it's a huge bummer the way things are playing out here in America, and it's just really hard. Like, I already knew. Anyway, that's just like a little almost like too political. But yeah, so like I was just very stressed coming home. I was like convinced that I was going to catch it and die, but I reached out to a couple of close friends and we like talked about it, and one of my friends who like I had done kind of like this group therapy with was like, hey, remember all of these tools that like we have in our toolboxes to like prepare ourselves for like hard things. So I like really did set intentions to get home safely and healthfully, and I journaled about it, and I was like, here's how I'm gonna, you know, compose myself during my trip. And like, so I really did get myself in a good mindset before I left, but damn, the days leading up to it were not chill. They were not chill. Crying on the phone to friends and family, and like before I made the decision, and then just like mourning the trip that we had to end soon. And
yeah, that was really sad. This was supposed to be such a fun time for both of us, and I think we got a couple of weeks of fun in. Like, that was it. Maybe 3.
Yeah, the first 2 weeks were great, but it was like late February, mid to late February when they started shutting things down, and then I really felt a shift in kind of like my behavior and my vibe and my like outlook. And I looking back on the trip, it was dictated a lot by fear, which is not a fun or healthy way to live your life. I mean, fear is good in some situations, obviously, but like that just like wasn't what this trip was supposed to be about. And I don't want to live my life dictated by fear. So it was just really interesting the way the trip played out in that way. But yeah. What can you do? I mean, I'm telling people that I fled the country, which is like a pretty like probably like the coolest way you could say it. Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, I fled Japan to return home. Like,
who are you telling this? You talk to people?
You know, I talk to friends, you know, on like social media and stuff.
Like, I don't have people to talk to.
Oh yeah, not like actual verbally talking, but people have been like, hey, you're home now, like, you know. And I was like, yeah, I fled the country. But so was it a rush for us to pack up? Not really. I mean, for me, kind of yes and kind of no. I mean, we had a few days once you decide to leave, and it's not like we had a lot of stuff to pack anyway. Yeah. So I packed in a day. You packed also probably in a day.
Less than. I packed that morning before I left. I mean, like, what do we have to pack? Our clothes and some art supplies I bought, like, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, so no, I didn't feel rushed packing up, did you?
No, the way I decided when I was going to leave was I wanted to finish a video before I left, just so I could post it before I left. So I would have left a day earlier, but I was like, I really want to get this video done and like post it before I leave, because I'll be traveling for a day and a half, and then I get home, I'll be tired. So I was like, oh, I'll leave on, I think I left on Sunday, and it was it Friday or was it Thursday I made the decision to leave? I think it was Thursday.
I think it was Thursday.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then plus, like, Air Canada was going to be limiting their flights starting on Tuesday or something like that, I think. So, I was like, well, I want to get out of there before I'm, like, severely limited to when I can leave. So, yeah, no rush, though. I mean, no rush.
Yeah.
Other than that.
Did you leave anything behind, Kasey?
Oh my God! Don't want to talk about it.
That was a question, but we can just, you know.
No, it's kind of funny. Well, I was talking to the person we rented our place from, and he was like, I noticed you left a lot of things. Did you want me to mail those to you? I was like, no. So that's like sweet. I mentioned, I went out and bought a bunch of groceries because, like I said, I was working on a video, and I was like, well, tomorrow is my big day to work on this video. I don't have time to go grocery shopping. I'm going to run out and get my groceries tonight. So I have a bunch of soups that, like, I miss those soups so much. I love those soups. Wish I could find them here, but I can't. So I left a lot of soup, some vegetable. I think I have some frozen edamame. I bought that.
Oh, yeah.
I bought a coffee table to work on, but, like, I knew I was going to leave that anyway. What else did I leave? I mean, not, like, a lot of things. There's a couple of things that wouldn't fit in my bag that I feel really bad about, because I bought art supplies just for videos, and I hate doing that. But I always give my art supplies away when I'm done with them. But I could not fit these in my bag, so there's a couple of things that I used for a video and then had to leave. So that sucks, but, you know, I'm sure the person, like, the guy who runs the place, I'm sure he can donate them or use them himself. Like, maybe he'll just throw them away, but, like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I'm more sad about all that soup, honestly. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about that soup. Actually, there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about that coffee, because Booby's coffee.
You brought some home, right?
I did, but, like, I drank it in, like, a week. Like, it's gone. I was talking to Dave about this, because I actually haven't really been liking my coffee here in Canada to begin with for, like, a long time.
Oh, okay.
And he told me that his friend also felt that same way about Victoria coffee, and apparently it's just the way they roast coffee here is just a lot more acidic, and I'm just like, I hate it. So, like, I might have to go online and, like, shop for coffee, and, like, I loved the Booby's coffee. Like, I drank 2 cups and enjoyed it without cream, but here I am buying creamer to put in my coffee because I hate it.
I bet if you, like, reached out to him and was like, hey, like how much would it cost to ship coffee, blah 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 blah, because I mean you are shipping it from the exact opposite end of the world. Yeah, so I'm sure that's not cheap. But
shout out to Coffee Bean Boobies. I mean,
Booby as in the bird, just before people start to their mascot is a booby.
It's a bird, like a blue-footed
like a
booby,
blue-footed
but I don't think it's blue. But it's great. I love their coffee. It's really good. He's really nice. So that's a bummer. Always finding something I love in Japan and having to, like, miss it. It sucks. Mm-hmm. It sucks. Mm-hmm. But that's the way it is.
Yeah, I didn't really, Allyson, who is speaking now, I didn't really leave anything behind. I guess there was, like, we bought a bunch of, like, condiments and cooking oil and stuff, because, like, as far as, like, a long-term rental, it wasn't really outfitted for that. But I did leave my, like, shitty student set of gouaches, which I was like,
you bought some.
Yeah, like, we both bought a nice set of gouache as kind of like a treat yourself.
That was the last time we went out, and, like, we were terrified when we went out that time too.
Yeah, honestly, it was a very stressful outing.
Bad vibes on that. That trip was a bad vibe.
It sucked. But yeah, we bought some gouache, but I didn't realize that the gouache that we bought, I didn't realize that there were 2 different kinds of gouache.
Right.
So the gouache that we bought is acrylic gouache, which means you cannot reactivate it, which I've always used, like, designer's gouache, which is, like, you can reactivate it with water. More or less watercolor. Yeah, it's like a more viscous, more opaque, watercolor. So I left all of my, like, water-soluble, reactivatable gouache in Japan, because I was like, oh, I just upgraded, but I still haven't swatched them. But, yeah, so I did leave a bunch of gouache, which I'm a little bummed about, but I did keep the good primary set of nice designer gouache that I brought with me, so I still have, like, you know, cyan and magenta and yellow and black and white. But I think that's the only thing I left. Some soap. But, ooh, did you hear that?
I did hear that.
Yeah, so I didn't really leave a whole lot. I didn't bring a lot to begin with, and...
Should we talk about our last time out when we went Hanami? Because we didn't talk about that.
I mean, that might be a whole... No, this is just going to be a 2-hour episode.
We'll just talk about it. It's fine.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, you had already been, like, very scared about going out, so you weren't going out a lot. And even I wasn't really going anywhere, mainly because nothing was open, but also, like, what am I going to do? Go shopping every day? Like, there's nothing to do. Mm-hmm. So, we hadn't gone out in, like, a week or 2, but we wanted, or you really wanted to go cherry blossom viewing, which is, like, a big thing in Japan. You go out and have a picnic, you go to a park, look at the cherry blossoms. It's, like, this big thing.
People are drinking in public in the daytime, even though that's usually frowned upon. Like, it's a big party.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously Japan was like, don't do it, but, like, it was, like, our last thing to do, so we went out and did it. But the first thing we encountered, we got on our first train, and there was this little girl sitting in front of us.
Oh, yeah, she was sick.
Very sick. Like, she was, she was laying down on her mom. She just looked miserable. I think she coughed a few times.
She was coughing, yeah.
And she had a mask on. Yeah, but, like, you can't help but think, like, this girl has something that could kill me, and I could get it. Like, so it was just, like, it was a bad vibe. And then, like, we got off the train, and this guy was, like, trying to speak English to me, and I was like, get away from me. Like, get away from me.
What are you doing?
On a normal day, I would probably try to interact with you, but it was just, like, get away from me.
And this was a Friday, and I think they had already announced that they were reducing train services, so trains weren't coming as...
It was on Saturday because it was the day after Animal Crossing came out.
No, it was the day that Animal Crossing came out. Remember, we got the date mixed up. We thought that Animal Crossing was coming out on Saturday, but it actually came out on Friday. And so we were like, okay, we're going to go out on Friday. Because it came out...
No. It came out on the 20th. But it came out...
I can't get my phone.
I'm looking at my computer. It came out on the 20th of March, which was on a Friday for Japan. But we couldn't get it, we thought, until the 21st.
Right. But we had forgot about the time difference, so it was like midnight for the 20th. So
I guess it was Friday. Okay.
Yeah, it was Friday.
Yeah.
And also another thing was like, so I think was that the weekend that Tokyo had announced a voluntary lockdown?
Yes. That was the day before. Wait. No. That was
the weekend we left?
That was the week. That was the week. Okay. Yeah, that was the next week.
Okay. So train services had been, like, the frequency had been cut down a little bit.
Yeah, it had, though. Yeah. Or just, like, less people were traveling, so they were cutting out trains.
Yeah. But, which also makes it so that the trains that are running are a little more full than they would be, but it's like, what can you do? We were going to wear masks, but we ended up not doing it. It's not like the masks that we had would do anything for us. But
we just had allergy
The purpose
masks.
of masks is
just don't touch
to help other people and also to remind yourself not to touch your face. But yeah, it was really stressful to see that girl sick on the train, and then every time someone would cough, you're just kind of like,
which like I don't want to be that person, but at the same time, it's like you could be carrying a thing that kills me. I could literally die.
Yeah, and this thing, it was just starting to ramp up, so. We decided to go to Sakaido one last time, which is that big art supply chain. We got our corn treats. We were like, because I wanted to buy gouache when I was here first, and we were thinking about like, well, if we're going to be on lockdown, let's go ahead and like get something that we can look forward to. I got some postcards. Did you get anything else?
I saw those cute postcards, and I was like, oh, it'd be a really cute idea to draw on top of them, but since I was in Japan, I didn't have any opaque art supplies. I just had my watercolor, so I was like, that's when I was like, you know what? I want to give gouache more of a try, because like I have a little set of gouache, haven't really tried it much, and I can use it on these postcards. So now I have it. I'll eventually do it. Haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah, so we got some last minute kind of like souvenirs, and then we decided to get bentos and go eat them in Yoyogi Park, which is like the big park in the Shinjuku area. Shibuya? Shinjuku? Harajuku? I get them all mixed up.
It's Harajuku.
Yeah. It's Harajuku Station, I guess. But yeah, there were so many people out, even though this thing was happening, which made me feel uncomfortable, which I know that we were also like going out into it. Mm-hmm. But it just, and Tokyo's a huge city, but it just like, I don't know, I guess I expected there not to be as many people, and just like...
I'm sure there wasn't, compared to like if there wasn't something happening. Like I'm sure some people didn't go.
Yeah, that's true. And also it wasn't full bloom yet. Full bloom ended up being probably Monday? That next weekend. I don't remember the exact date, but I remember walking around the neighborhood. Oh, they were starting to fall that weekend. So yeah, probably just a few days later was full bloom, so...
Yeah, but Animal Crossing was coming out, and I didn't want to go out when things were getting worse, and more people may have been out on Sunday, so...
Yeah, I didn't want to go out on the weekend. But yeah, there was just this whole kind of, like, vibe of just, like, being nervous and feeling uncomfortable and not having a whole lot of fun and enjoying it, and then, like... just going into a department store to buy a bento and it just being so busy and you're so close to so many people. Mm-hmm. And I mean, mask culture is like incredible in Japan. Like a lot of people were wearing masks, but there's still, you're just in close proximity to so many people, and then like buying food and like going out and eating it in a park and not being able to like actually wash your hands. I mean, we did have alcohol, like hand sanitizer, and they do give you those wet wipes to use, but and you are eating with chopsticks, but still it's just like... It's just like, I don't know, it was like kind of enjoyable, but at the same time there was just like so much anxiety in the background for me that was just like, damn. Damn. But yeah, so that was our last time out in Tokyo.
Yeah, that was our last time out and like eating out. We got like vegetarian bentos, and those were really good.
I think
Wait, were they vegetarian?
I think they had meat in them.
Some chicken. They were healthier.
But they were really good. Yeah, they were
They
were really good. Yeah, I enjoyed the food, and it was fun to drink in the park and like see everyone. If you kind of just like were able to be like, oh, this shit's not happening. This is fun and normal. It's fine. But I was glad to be able to like kind of get that taste of that part of the Japanese culture before I left. Because I don't know when I'll be coming back. We'll see. Yeah.
So, okay. So traveling. Should we move on to travel then?
Yeah, I guess we'll move on to travel. So we talked about when we decided to leave, if we were rushed packing. I left on Saturday and you left on Sunday.
Right.
So
you left on Saturday and it was like a warm, nice day.
Yeah.
You know, cherry blossoms floating through the air.
Yeah, we took one last walk through our neighborhood. Yeah, and honestly, like I'd pretty much stayed in the apartment from that previous Friday to the Saturday. So like going out and seeing the cherry blossoms after full bloom and being able to smell them, it was wild. I was like, oh shit, these smell exactly like cherry blossom flavored snacks.
The snacks we've been eating.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, these flavor engineers have done such an incredible job. Wow. But it was really nice to see the neighborhood one last time, and it was kind of like a perfect day for like a one last walk around the neighborhood.
The weather was like,
it was perfect.
It was great.
There was like rain in the forecast, but it didn't actually happen. It did cool down a little bit when I left. But I packed up on Saturday afternoon and I left on my own. You helped me to our home train station because I did break one of the wheels on my luggage like when we came into Japan. So it was like a little touch and go. But so that weekend was the voluntary lockdown, which what the hell is the point of a lockdown if you're saying it's voluntary?
Yeah.
And it was still like there were in our neighborhood anyway, there were still a lot of people like going to restaurants and stuff. But I did notice on my train ride to the airport that the trains were less full than they would be, and it was Saturday, and that's like it's the weekend, people are going out. I did notice a lot of people in parks and stuff though, but like what can you do? As far as like my train ride, I got an express train to Narita. So like I can't remember what it's called. The Skyliner, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and I took the express train, which is a little more pricey than just like taking a regular train. So there were, I think, 2 other people in my train car, and those have like assigned seats. So it was like I was in the middle on one side of the train, and then there was like someone in the front and then someone in the back. So we were all like equally spaced. It was a really nice train ride. I took some time-lapse video out my train window of all the cherry blossom trees. I was very nervous the whole time. I was wearing a mask, making sure not to touch stuff. I like almost had a panic attack when I figured out that I couldn't use my Suica card to buy my express train ticket, and I had to hand this guy my credit card, and then I had to sign a receipt, and I was like, oh my god, I'm holding this pin, like, but I used alcohol, hand sanitizer after that, and then I did not get to the airport with enough time that I usually like to provide myself for an international flight. I'm definitely that person who like wants to get there 2 hours beforehand so I can like, settle in and they can check my bags and all that stuff. But I got there an hour before my flight check-in, and the airport was empty. I got there.
That was so spooky. I felt like I was
really
in a zombie
spooky.
movie.
Yeah, it was empty, and then like
so
the people
weird.
Yeah, the people that were working like were like, oh, like 3 of them came up and were like, hey, we're really empty, like let's do something. And I was really stressed about my flight. You probably remember this because so I got a flight from Tokyo to Atlanta, and then from there I was going to fly from Atlanta to Nashville, but Delta had canceled my Atlanta to Nashville flight, and I was really stressed out about like, well, does that mean my whole flight's canceled? Like, and I was looking at alternative flights, and it's like, well, we do have other flights going that day, but you'll have 2 layovers as opposed to like that one layover in Atlanta. And I was like, well, I want to spend as little time as possible like in different areas and laying over. And so I ended up like there, like they were like, hey, this part of your trip is canceled. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. My partner's actually going to pick me up in Atlanta and drive me back to Nashville. Like, my boyfriend drove from Nashville to Atlanta, which is like 4 hours and then back, which is like, mwah, thank you, you angel. But it was just like, but yeah, they got that sorted out, no problem. So I got to my gate, no problem. But this is actually kind of funny. I texted you about this. There were a ton of attendants at my gate, which was, and they were taking a lot of photos with each other, and I was like, oh, that's weird, but whatever.
Oh, right. Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
And it got really close to boarding time, and a lot of people started giving speeches about this being the last flight from Narita to Atlanta, and I was like, oh my God, like, they're shutting the shit down. And me and another person, like, sitting, you know, a few seats over, we, like, looked at each other and we were like, what the fuck is happening? And then finally at the end of a speech, they were like, from now on, we're only flying out of Haneda. And I was like, oh God, thank you. We were, because, like, the climate is, like, you know, there's so many questions surrounding air travel right now and, like, you know, safety and blah, blah, blah. And we were kind of like, oh my God, like, this is the last flight and they're canceling all flights from Tokyo to America. Like, this is the last flight to America. But no, it was just their last flight at Narita, because Narita is a garbage airport, apparently. Oops, that's the only one I ever fly.
I know, me too.
Of, so I guess I'm a garbage person.
I've always wanted to see the other one, but
I hear it's nice.
Cheaper. Yeah.
So yeah, my airplane was not that crowded. The only people that were sitting in the same aisles were people that were traveling together. So I was the only person in my aisle, and same for the aisles in front and behind me. And I was like, I had a window seat, so like the middle section was pretty empty. The person behind me, though, I noticed, like, took out a wipe and wiped everything down. Like, they took all of the trays down, wiped them down, like, were wiping the walls down, which, I mean, I don't blame them, but I was also kind of like I felt
on
like
one hand,
the airport should be cleaning everything, right?
On one hand, I feel like it's good to be, like, better safe than sorry, but on the other hand, some people, I'm just like, it's a little much for me, to be honest.
Also, that guy was, like, coughing on the flight, so at the same time, I was like,
maybe he has asthma or something. You know, maybe he always had a cough. I don't know.
It's also allergy season everywhere, so it's like, but in my head, I was like, bro, you're coughing, and you're like, hello. But yeah, so my flight was like, everything seemed normal. They gave out a complimentary cocktail. They did give out a bottle of water, which is not normal for coach. So I think that was probably them being like, hey, let's not do so many, you know, cups situation. I was being paranoid. I only drank that bottle of water. I did not eat any food with my hands. I tried really hard not to pee on the flight, but it was like a 12-hour flight. So I did. I peed once. But yeah, so like, honestly, the flight, I just watched movies the whole time, tried to sleep a little bit, but was a little too stressed. My flight was fine. My boyfriend got me at the airport, and we drove from Atlanta to Nashville, and it was actually kind of nice. The drive was kind of nice because there was a lot of wisteria in bloom, which I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's like a purple tree vine flower. So it's kind of really nice to have my trip book ended with cherry blossoms at the front end and then all the wisteria at the back end. Wow. It was like, oh, that's so nice. Thanks, universe. You know, maybe it's not so bad, but I did cry a lot on the drive home. So that was my experience.
Not to no one's surprise.
yeah. I'm just crying all the time. But yeah, so overall, I think the biggest thing for me was just being my own manufactured stress. But there is some legitimacy to having like some stress and awareness, but I probably worried too much because here I am a month later. I don't have COVID-19. Mm-hmm. That's me knocking on wood. so that was Saturday, and then you spent a night by yourself, and then you left on Sunday. How was your experience?
Which my biggest fear in life, I'm afraid of the dark. So I was like, I'm in this like apartment all alone. So I was like,
I don't think, did I know that?
Probably not.
Surely,
it's not. I don't think it's fear. I'm not afraid of the dark as much as I have fear of the unknown.
Okay.
Because it's like, I don't believe in monsters and stuff, but like, I can't confirm that there is not something over there. So
Sure.
it just gets, and like you hear a sound, you're like, oh, what's
yeah.
that? So, I mean, it wasn't like a big deal, but I get all spooked a little bit, but I mean, it was fine. I finished a video, stayed up late, and finished a video. That was my night. And then I woke up to snow.
Oh, yeah.
Because I knew it was gonna rain because the forecast said it was gonna rain. But I woke up and I was like, I don't hear rain. And I looked out the window and it was like snowing. And it continued to snow all day, and I was like, this is crazy. I don't know. I packed, made sure I had everything. And when I left, I was dragging my luggage with just like piles of snow building up behind it. And I was like, this is ass, to be honest. Like, this just sucks. I walked in the road, you know when you turn off of our road onto that, like, main road?
Yeah.
I walked in the road because the sidewalk area was just snow, and I couldn't.
Oh, yeah.
So I just, like, walked, which was fine. There was, like, no cars. It was ass. And whatever. I don't know. I got on the airport. I got on the train. Mm-hmm. Like you said, there wasn't a lot of people. Also took an express to the airport, because that's the way I roll. One other person in the cart, or whatever. I can't even... I did time-lapse also of, like, this. You said you did time-lapse of the cherry blossoms. I did time-lapse of the snow, like, in the background. So that was kind of cool. Got to the airport, very eerie, just spooky. I mean, literally nobody was there. There was, like, maybe 10 other people flying that were, like, checking in or whatever. Mm-hmm. It was just spooky. It was just weird, and that just added to the weird feeling. But I also, a positive note, got a last stamp in my book at the airport.
Yeah. I was so jealous.
I made sure, because, like, I wasn't going to travel anywhere that had stamps. I was going straight to the airport, but I was like, I know that airport station is going to have a stamp for my Eki book stamp collection. Sure enough, it was huge. I mean, it was like my biggest one yet. It was crazy.
I was so excited when you sent that photo to me. I didn't even think about it. I was so stressed.
Always on my mind. Always on my mind.
Priorities.
Yeah, so, I don't know, checked in, flew. So, like, when we were boarding, they had us do the whole 6 feet apart thing, but people were just so, like, they didn't want to do it. Like, they got in line behind people, and they just were ignoring them. So they had to go by down the line, like, 5 times, like, please, 6 feet apart. And people would step, like, a few inches back, and they weren't, like, and it was just like, why is this so hard to just stand apart? I don't understand. This is not changing anything about what is happening right now.
You're all gonna get on the plane. Yeah,
and then there was, like, this 6-year-old lady behind me that laughed and was like, this is so funny. And I was like, is it funny? Like, wow. You could die, and they're trying to prevent you from dying. But this is funny to you, I guess.
Yeah, ma'am, you're high risk. You're old.
So, like, I don't know. It was really weird, because I also got to the Vancouver airport, which, again, Vancouver airport's a huge airport. There was, like, nobody there. Half the restaurants and stores were closed, probably more than half of them. And then, again, there was just, like, a bunch of boomers sitting around. So I don't want to insult boomers, but they were all old people, and they were just like, this is so lame. Like, oh my gosh, how inconvenient, this and that. And I'm just like, I don't understand what's happening. I don't understand why older people are just so annoyed by this, especially. Yeah, but then all the younger people are like actually trying to do something about it.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't get it.
That was frustrating, but it was very nice to be at the airport for a long time and not have people around you.
Oh yeah, how long was your layover? Because your flight kept getting delayed.
Okay. So I landed in Vancouver at like 10 a.m. and I was supposed to take off at 4, so it was like a 7-hour layover or something. But then the flight got delayed until like 8, so it ended up being like a 12 or 13-hour layover or something. Yeah.
Damn.
That sucked. I felt like poop, but they did give us a free meal voucher. So I had poutine. First poutine bag. I really wanted... I was so looking forward to a salad when I got home, But obviously the only places that were open were like poo-poo places.
Yeah.
And I was like, forget it. I'm back in Canada. I'm getting a poutine. So
it
was a bad poutine, but
I definitely ate a party pizza. Not my first night because I got there so late, but like my second night home, I ate a Totino's party pizza.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like you said, like, you know, less people on the flight, limited service.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get a free cocktail though. Ugh. What's up with
yeah.
that?
Oh, I meant to keep the thing. We had like I've flown Delta before and it wasn't like this. Well, I guess it's been a minute since I've flown Delta, but yeah, they had like everyone's getting a cocktail and then you're getting like, we had like 2 meals and a couple of snacks. I don't know.
They didn't even give us snacks. My flight, which was Air Canada, so maybe they're just like more careful, but they were just like as limited. Like they didn't even walk around and offer water midway. It was like water at the meal at the beginning and water at the meal at the end. And I was like, bro, I'm so thirsty, but I don't want to call you. I feel like a butthole.
Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed that when I researched like Air Canada versus like some American airline, like not American Airlines, but you know what I'm saying, American airline companies. Yeah, Delta didn't really seem to change their stuff aside from like giving us a bottle of water, and then like not even all of their flight attendants were wearing masks and gloves, which I found a little disconcerting. Like, everyone should just wear a mask.
I've heard that a lot of companies in general aren't supplying people their own masks, but then also like they are hard to come by, so
that's
I don't know if
true.
I can really get mad at them for that.
That's true. You're right, that's true. Yeah, so I guess some of the questions that I have on this list, but I think we kind of covered it already, was like, what was the hardest part? How did you feel? How stressful was it? And were you scared? Which we kind of like, I was very stressed and scared, and but were you very stressed or scared of stuff?
I was a little bit, you know, I was enough scared and stressed as someone who doesn't have like extreme anxiety would be. Like, yes, I was scared and concerned about getting this disease that could kill me, but it wasn't something that I was going to cry days about.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't cry on my trip until Justin picked me up, for the record.
Oh, wow, congratulations.
Thanks.
Which, by the way, was very sad. If you have a significant other and you go on a long trip and like the most exciting part is going to the airport and like being able to hug them again. It was the worst. Like, I just walked up to me and Dave walked up and we were just like, hi. Like,
yeah,
hi from over here. Like, I can't even hug you. It was the worst.
Yeah, I sat in the back seat in the car ride and it was just like, all
same.
I wanted to do is just like sit next to him and put my hand on his leg, you know, like, instead I'm in the back seat crying.
Same, except I wasn't crying.
Yeah.
And then that continued for 2 weeks. I couldn't touch Dave for 2 weeks.
Yeah, and you guys
Dave was
were
my
in the
little
same
servant.
house.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't see Justin again until I got bones from him 2 weeks later. Did you have jet lag? Did you experience jet lag at all?
No, because I don't believe in jet lag. Jet lag is a self
inflicted thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jet lag depends on if you give in to being tired when you get to your destination, and I refuse to get jet lagged, because when I arrive somewhere at noon, I'm going to stay up until at least 5 or 6 because I don't want to get jet lagged. And so I've never in my life been jet lagged.
Yeah, I've never had jet lag either, but this time really fucked me up. But I think
maybe because you were so stressed.
Yeah, I really do think it had more to do with me being stressed than jet lag, because I've never had a problem with jet lag before either, because like generally I will stay up the whole time, or like I might take a 1 hour nap or something. But yeah, I've been able to snap out of quote unquote jet lag, or just like transitioning to a new time zone pretty easily. But no, I was pretty fucked up for a week. But I think that was stress.
I got back to waking up early. Plus, Dave would wake up and start working in the living room, so even if I wanted to sleep in, he'd be like grinding those beans at 7:30. So even if I did sleep in till 7:30, it's like coffee time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no,
which is fine. I don't like to sleep in anyways.
I was completely alone for 2 weeks. I guess we can talk
Wow.
about that a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, how was
so,
that?
like-
Because I didn't experience that.
Yeah, so me, Allyson, my plan for like this trip and after this trip was that I had a few job prospects, or I definitely had like people who would hire me when I got back, you know, for a stopgap measure. But now I'm back in this environment where all my friends who were managers at places had been closed, and I won't be able to get a job. So I don't really have anywhere to live. I'm crashing with our mom right now, which I've done before in the past, but this was not part of the plan. And I'm very, very, very lucky that I was able to quarantine here for 2 weeks alone while my mom like went to her sister's house down the street, and then like now I'm able to be here and not have to worry about paying rent and things like that. But I think part of the reason why I was like struggling with sleep was like being completely alone, kind of just waiting around to see if I was sick or not.
Yeah,
which is a really weird headspace to be in.
Like, I mean, obviously, like, mine was, like, a lot less than you, but, like, I also, like, every day it's, like, am I going to die? I don't know. And, like, even after a week, it's, like, you think, okay, surely a week, but at the same time, they tell you 2 weeks, so it's, like, I could still die in a week. Like, yeah, that's really strange.
Yeah, so it's weird to be alone for 2 weeks and kind of be like confronted with the possibility of your mortality and just like having to sit with that and not being able to see people to kind of like relieve or distract from that. Like I did call and FaceTime people, but it was just a really weird place to be in, and it really did a number on my mental health. I definitely freaked out a few times, but I think a lot of people are struggling right now, even, you know, neurotypical people or like, you know, people who don't struggle with mental health, because this is just like a really weird scenario to be in, and it is kind of like a worldwide trauma and high stress situation. So I'm leveling out a little bit now. I did have a pretty bad depressive episode a few days ago, but I think that's just going to be kind of like the normal for right now, being fine for a few days and then being like, oh shit, I'm dealing with all this stuff, and then will I get a job anytime soon? Who knows? Like, it sucks, but thanks, Bonez.
Which just to mention, because I feel like not a lot of people are aware, but I think a lot of people, like, I thought I would be okay because, you know, I work from home, I make YouTube videos, like, oh, ad revenue. But because people aren't spending money on things, people aren't buying things, a lot of ads are pulling out of YouTube, and YouTube ad revenue is, like, down a lot, which, like, I can't even complain about because I'm still fine. But it is interesting to see, because, like, I thought, you know, I'll be fine, which I am, but a lot of ads are pulling out of YouTube, which has been kind of crazy to see, because like I didn't even experience the adpocalypse thing that happened. I think it happened like right before I started YouTube, but it's also kind of weird because no one's talking about it, but like behind the scenes and like DMs and stuff, people are talking about it. So it's just kind of weird. Usually people are like, oh, ad revenue's down, blah blah blah, oh my god, I'm so poor, but like no one's talking about it this time, which is like really strange. Maybe for once, YouTubers don't want to complain about something that they have well off, which is kind of shocking because YouTubers will complain about anything.
Yeah, it's also a weird situation. I mean, I wonder if they're maybe afraid of like complaining about that and then like that having like coming back to bite them by more ads being pulled, but like
I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know. But it's just interesting to see because I've never experienced, because like I've only been a YouTuber for almost 3 years now or something. I don't even know. But yeah. Everybody.
Yeah, it's been rough out there. And again, not to like make it political, but this is just like part of it, but seeing you as a Canadian and how your country's handling things versus me as an American and having to sit with the reality of the shit show that's happening here, and like just the way Canada is being really great about providing their citizens with money to get them through this. Like, they are asking them to stay home and they're giving them the tools that they need to survive while they're at home. Meanwhile, in America, you know, there are some states that never really officially shut down, and we're reopening in the beginning of May. Yeah, Florida, and then also some places in the Midwest.
I just don't understand
this like $1,200 check that's supposed to tide people over, and the fact that a lot of people's health insurance is tied to their employment, but now, you know, almost 10% of the country is unemployed. No, that's not what I meant.
That's it?
No, so I was just thinking like, oh, the population is like 330 million, so 10% of that would be 33 million people unemployed, but I think unemployment it's not that high. Also, like, kids don't have jobs.
I thought it would be higher. Oh, yeah,
no, I think unemployment, I don't remember what the numbers are, but it's just like so many people are in like such a rough spot, and like I feel like I don't totally regret coming to Japan, but if I had the knowledge that I have now, would I have gone in February? No, absolutely not, because like I'm not able to apply for unemployment because I quit my job in January. But like I said, I am like lucky to be able to like stay with my mom. But it's just like there are other people who are in my position who don't have family members they can rely on, and it's just like really don't like it. Sucks, to put it mildly. It's
rough.
It's horrible. Yeah, but this isn't a political podcast, so I'll just leave it at that. There's a lot of disparity happening. It's not cool. It's really tough to be an American.
Hey,
right now.
COVID, not cool.
Not cool.
Not cool.
Hey, could
not
you
cool.
chill?
Could you not?
Not just you, but also the American government. Just chill. But yeah.
Do we have any more questions?
No, I think that we have entered it. Like, we talked about leaving, all that stuff. Do we have any osasumes?
Ooh.
I guess my osasume is just to wear a mask when you go out and only
my
go out when you need to. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, if you want to keep it not related to that, I don't know. I don't have anything.
I guess my osasume is one thing that I've done since coming back is buy a bunch of postage stamps. The United States Postal Service is in a world of hurt right now. That'll help them. But also, like, I'm actually really excited to send a bunch of letters to friends. So that could be a fun thing to distract you and to help give you something to look forward to, like the receiving of a letter. So maybe my osasume is to buy some stamps and send a friend a postcard or a letter. That could be fun.
That's cute.
Yeah, so that's my osasume.
My osasume is to just try to enjoy your time off and don't put pressure on yourself to be productive.
That's a good one. I've been reading a lot about that. Like, people are like, oh, you have all this free time, be productive. But there's also this other side of the coin where it's like, there's this national global stress happening and your brain is not going to be able to function.
I think that's me right now.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's bad.
I mean, it's normal. Like, this is just like beyond anything anyone's ever had to deal with before, and your brain can't handle that information and continue to act like everything's okay, because everything is not okay, honestly. And it's okay that it's not okay. You can admit that it's not okay, feel your feelings, reach out to your friends, give yourself a hug.
What's a friend? What? Just kidding. I have one.
It's kind of like, I was gonna say it's kind of like a husband, but you don't like, but then you said Dave, so.
Yeah, I did.
So yeah, just take care of each other and take care of yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. Take it easy.
Yeah. And with that,
man, we sure couldn't stay, could we?
Too soon. Too soon.
We couldn't stay. But
we can't stay.
We'll see you next time.
Okay,
bye.
Bye.
Okay. Right.
Okay.
That was...
Should I do an armpit reveal?
Yeah, bonus footage. I can see it. Your arms are down and I can see it.
You can see it from your angle, but not my camera angle. I haven't really seen it. It's like warm in here, but also I don't think the shirt is supposed to breathe.
Yeah. Oh my god!